For today's top stories, let's go over to the CBN News Desk.
Gordon, millions of people across the country are starting off the new year with Arctic cold temperatures. From the Great Plains to the Mideast, forecasters say we're seeing some of the coldest air of the season. But as Caitlin Burke reports, that didn't stop massive crowds from gathering to ring in the new year.
Massive crowds braved freezing temperatures to welcome in the new year. In New York City, millions watched the Waterford ball drop, celebrating in a blizzard of confetti.
Happy New Year!
In Chicago, fireworks lit up the sky. Crowds welcoming in the new year and bracing for at least 6 inches of snow. In Portland, Maine, these people braved the cold for a New Year's Eve 5K run and plunge into the ocean.
Fabulous.
Freezing.
Really
Freezing,
cool.
but fun. So fun.
Exhilarating. It's a great thing to do on New Year's Eve, and you bond with everybody who does it with you.
Forecasters say it won't be getting warmer anytime soon, and a large part of the country could start off the new year snowed in.
The storm is going to affect a large area. There will be enough snow to cause travel delays in the next 24 hours from Chicago to Denver.
That storm will then head towards the northeast, affecting cities from Washington, D.C., all the way up to New England. 6 to 12 inches of snow expected in some areas.
2014 is going to start off brutally cold across the eastern half of the United States with a departing snowstorm, and we could be looking at more cold and more snow early next week.
And forecasters warn that just as that storm is moving out, there's a chance that another will be moving in. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Obamacare goes into effect today, just as it faces still another legal challenge. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor has blocked part of the new law at the request of Catholic-affiliated groups from around the country. The groups oppose the contraception mandate. It forces religious organizations to provide health insurance that includes birth control and drugs that could induce abortions. Religious groups say that the mandate violates their beliefs. Sotomayor says the government has until Friday morning to respond to her order. That's just one of the many problems facing Obamacare. A recent poll showed that public support for the law has hit an all-time low. President Obama's pastor-in-chief is sharing some of his own thoughts on the contraception mandate in Obamacare and on religious freedom. Joshua Dubois served as director of the White House Faith Office. He's compiled some of the daily devotions he sends the president in his new book, The President's Devotional. He also shares observations about the president and issues facing the White House, including that birth control mandate that pitted many Christians against his boss.
You write that in many instances you felt that you were the only person in the administration advocating for religious liberty. And you say, speaking of some senior White House officials, you write, their inability to make this relatively small concession to religious organizations seemed to me unreasonable at best, and at worst, destructive. Tell us about what a delicate time this was for you in your position.
Well, it was a very tough time, and the thing that essay in the book, in the President's Devotional, really illuminates is how I had to learn to deal a little bit better with disagreement, even when I disagree with folks that I care about and that I work with and that I'm close to. You know, I started in a place where I was questioning their motives and integrity and so forth, and God really shook me up and said that you can have a passionate disagreement on a really important issue, but you've still got to treat others with love and respect.
Dubois says the devotionals that he sends to the president are centered on Jesus. The government will soon start conducting drone testing across 6 different states. The Federal Aviation Administration says Alaska, Nevada, New York, North Dakota, Texas, and Virginia will all be home to the new research sites. In the past, drones have mainly been used by the military, but that's been changing. The FAA says the new test sites will provide valuable information for safely incorporating new drone technology into the nation's skies.
There's many really good domestic applications, civil applications that you don't hear about too much now, but you're going to start hearing about a lot more in the next few years.
Many politicians and activists from across the political spectrum have voiced their concerns about surveillance drones and violating Americans' privacy. Well, with a new year comes a new flu season. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says high levels of seasonal influenza are already being seen in southeastern parts of the country. The CDC says the main strain of flu is the one known as H1N1. That's the virus that caused the swine flu pandemic a couple years ago. The CDC is urging everyone to get vaccinated. Utah is taking its battle against same-sex marriage to the nation's highest court. On Tuesday, the state filed an emergency appeal with the Supreme Court to stop gay marriages. Same-sex unions became legal in Utah when a federal judge struck down the state's voter-approved ban. That decision led to more than 900 gay marriages in the state. Nearly two-thirds of Utah's 2.8 million residents are Mormons. The Mormon Church says it stands by its support for traditional marriage and hopes a higher court validates its belief that marriage is between a man and a woman. Well, the Southern Baptist Convention is criticizing a federal ruling about polygamy in Utah. The convention's top public policy official says decriminalizing polygamy puts vulnerable women and children at risk, and that the ruling also undermines the Bible's definition of marriage as the union of one man and one woman. The decision recently handed down by a federal judge says a Utah law that forbids cohabitation with another person violates the First Amendment. The ruling does not legalize multiple marriages, but it does mean polygamous families who live together cannot be prosecuted. And you can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com.